Hello friends, this is Scott, and today I'm at my home kitchen in Salt Lake City. And this is 70 days after I began my journey of this year's sweet potato crop. And we started growing slips on March 13th. And as you see, those are the two mother host plants. And from those two host plants, I rooted multiple slips that are ready for planting, probably overly ready for planting, but they have pretty good root structure. So they're ready to go in the ground, and we're going to do that today. And I kept the mother plants growing, and as we'll see here in a second, I've got the next generation of slips. Now, these are a little bit smaller slips, but they'll root just fine. And here's a look at, they've been in the water probably maybe a week, so they're getting there. So I've got to plant them in my home garden, I've got to plant them at the school garden, and I've got to take some down to the hobby farm. So I need to just keep growing, and I'm sure the mother plants will continue to grow some more, but they're kind of a long season vegetable. You always plant them after there's no more frost fear, and then you pick them after the first fall frost. That makes them more sweet. There's my favorite tool, which is a stirrup hoe, and I like it because I do the no-till method, and this stirrup hoe is great for just loosening up the top layer of soil and chopping the small weeds and getting them, the little tiny weeds. For bigger weeds, this is not the tool you want to use. You want to get a shovel and just dig them up and make sure you try to get all the root out. But just for preparing a planting bed, it's a perfect tool. Now this bed and the bed you see in the background, I built last year. And I layered these beds with chicken compost and compost from my passive compost system, and just put in hay and just added horse manures, and so I built this bed up pretty good. So there should be plenty of fertility in here. I'm not going to worry about any fertility today. I think the second year bed is kind of when that initial fertility is probably fully broken down and ready. The nutrients will be ready for the plants this year. So not even going to fertilize. Just going to get this area ready, and then we're going to plant the slips. So here's a closer look at the roots of the slips that we're planting. And I've got great root structure, so these should be really easy to get going here in this bed. Now, I decided this year with the hobby farm, I'm going to plant a lot of the bigger crops down there, like carrots, beets, potatoes, those type of crops down at the hobby farm. But in my home garden, I decided I'm going to put the sweet potatoes here. It's a little bit less chance of frost. Even now it could freeze down at the hobby farm. So I'm going to get a head start of this. I'm just going to go ahead and use this whole bed for sweet potatoes. As I lay them out, it looks like I've got about 10 on that first bit or first jar, and then I'm just going to grab a couple more out of this cup. And so I think I put in 12 slips, well-rooted slips. So these should do really, really well. And I'm excited. I've grown sweet potatoes in the past. Last year, didn't have a very good crop. I wasn't very good with my slips. I think I had a little bit of a disease issue, and I put them in a semi-shady area, and it just didn't work out. Really difficult, to plant in a new bed. It's no-till. Look at that loose soil. So you just basically just stick the plants in, cover them up, and those roots should take off. So I'm excited for sweet potatoes. I'm not a big eater of sweet potatoes, but my wife likes them. And so it's one of those crops that you can store for several months, and they're nice to have in the winter. And hopefully I'll have a good potato crop down at the hobby farm, because as I don't think I'm going to be growing any potatoes up here. It's still not too late to put some in, so you never know. I've yet to hit the nursery for any major purchases. Haven't bought my tomatoes yet, and I haven't purchased the vegetables for the school garden, all the plants that I'm going to plant. So that'll probably be, maybe the school garden might be tomorrow. I'll go and purchase a bunch, and then in the next few days I'll get the rest of the plants that I want to put in here. I didn't use any grow lights this year. I just didn't have the time. I've been busy with the interior of the hobby farm, getting it remodeled and ready for use this year, so I didn't do the light system. Now my light system is at the school garden. They've got it in a storage closet, and so I'll be reclaiming that and bringing it probably to the Salt Lake residence, just so I can keep a better eye on when I start seeds, because it's I just can't put it down at the hobby farm if I'm not there for a few days. I got to make sure that the moisture content is right. So I'll probably grow my quite a few flats of plants next year up here, and then use them various places, but we'll see. It was nice to get outside today at the main home garden and just to get a good start on it. I've been neglecting the home garden a little bit. I've got some weed issues, My bark mulch, because I do the backdeeding method, I've run out of bark. The earth has consumed the bark, and the earth life has consumed the bark. So I've got to get a bunch more wood chips and bark this year. So we're going to be looking for another truck to dump a load in the driveway, and then I'll just take it everywhere and use it again. Or I'll have to go to the dump and buy wood chips from there. Worst case scenario, I'll buy from a nursery, but those are very expensive. I mean, you're spending $120, $130 for a, before tax for a couple cubic yards. So after planting these sweet potatoes, it's as simple as just grabbing the hose and watering them in good. And I do have an automatic sprinkling system, so most of the time I'm not going to need to do this, but you always water your plants in as you're getting a good start. So anyway, well, we'll see. These plants will, as they grow, the stems will be touching the ground and they'll reroot. So there'll be sweet potatoes throughout this entire bed and probably over the wall and into parts of the other parts of the garden. So we'll see how good of a crop we get. Again, we wait till the first frost in the fall. That'll kill off the plants and makes the sweet potatoes very sweet, and that's what you want. So here's a look at it. Again, 12 slips with many more to use other places, but only needed 12 to fill this bed up. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of sweet potatoes and enjoy them all winter long. So anyway, well, thanks for watching this video. And if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. Channel's growing, but still need a lot more subscribers so that I have more time to put out videos. Thank you.